Well, in C, we're limited to a fixed set of integer types. From 8-bit to 32 and 64-bit, or even 128-bit, was a struggle depending on the compiler and platform. But in Zig, things are completely different. Zig gives you a flexible sizing system where you can use any bit width between 0 and 65,535 for both signed and unsigned types. You get exactly what you need. No rounding up and no wasted bits. And as for the floating point types, it's not quite as flexible, but Zig still gives you a comprehensive set that covers pretty much every use case you'll ever need, from 16-bit all the way up to 128-bit. However, working with numbers in Zig requires strict explicitness. You cannot assign a value of a larger type to a smaller type without an explicit cast. No silent truncation, and no implicit conversions. If you want to convert, you must use a built-in function like intcast for converting between integer types, or floatcast for converting between float types, or even float from int and int from float when crossing between integers and floating point types. And for the overflow, well, in debug mode, immediate panic, no silent bugs. But if you actually need overflow behavior, Zig gives you two options: wrapping arithmetic, which rolls over like you'd expect, or saturating arithmetic, which stops at the maximum instead of rolling over. And by the way, there are also other ways to handle overflow more safely. For example, the standard library provides math functions like add, subtract, multiply, and shift left. These return an error if overflow happens, so you can handle it cleanly with try and catch or with just simple if condition. But there's also another option, the built-in functions, add with overflow, sub with overflow, and so on. The difference is, instead of returning an error, these return a tuple. The first element is the result, and the second is a boolean that tells you whether overflow happened. So you're working directly with values, not errors. Same idea, but just a different style. Pick whatever fits your code better. However, one last thing. Something like a 24-bit integer in memory doesn't take 24 bits. It takes 32. Alignment rules still apply. A lot of you keep asking for longer videos, and honestly, you probably don't know that I already have videos that are almost 40 minutes long. I highly recommend checking them out. And if you want to build something from scratch, step by step. So check the first comment and don't forget to tell me what you think about the Build Your Own X series I'm planning to start, and let me know what you'd love to see built from scratch. The only place you get the exact bit size is inside a packed structure. Now you might ask, what is the packed structure? Simply put, the normal structure in Zig adds padding between fields to keep everything aligned, but the packed structure removes that padding completely. Every field takes exactly the bits you said it would, no more, no less. So if you put a 24-bit integer inside a packed structure, it takes exactly 24 bits. Not 32, not anything else, just 24. This makes packed structures very useful for things like network packets, hardware registers, or any place where the exact memory layout matters. And by the way, to know the actual size of any type in Zig, you have two built-in functions, sizeOf and bitSizeOf. The difference is simple. The sizeOf function returns the size in bytes and takes padding into account. But the bitSizeOf function ignores padding and returns the actual bit size. So if you use the sizeOf function on a 24-bit integer type, you will get 4, which is 32 bits. But the bitSizeOf function gives you 24-bit. And by the way, C has something similar to packed structures called bit fields. But there's a key difference. In C, the memory layout of bit fields is implementation defined, meaning it can change between compilers and platforms. You can't rely on it. But in Zig, even outside the packed structure, you can still use any bit width you want. But the alignment rules still apply. The 24-bit integer will take 32 bits in memory, but the type itself exists, works, and behaves consistently. C simply doesn't allow that. However, I think that's enough for today. Tell me in the comments what you would like the next episode to be about. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.